Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Hello Word. My name is Alex and I am excited to have you join me on this language learning journey. Today we will be focusing on an everyday context that many of us encounter from time to time. That place is the pharmacy, where we find all kinds of medical items that help us take care of our health. Our theme today is all about pharmacy vocabulary, and we will be focusing on nouns. Nouns are words that name a person, place, thing, or idea. In this episode, we will explore several nouns that you might see or hear at a pharmacy. Each noun will have its own dedicated paragraph. I will define each word, explain its meaning, give you examples of its usage in daily conversation, and then share some sample sentences to help you see how that word might appear in real life. Before we begin, I want you to imagine you are walking into a pharmacy in an English-speaking environment. Perhaps you need to purchase something for a cold, or maybe you are picking up a prescription. Whatever the case, you will probably encounter a variety of products on the shelves and conversations that involve these items. Knowing the right vocabulary will not only help you communicate your needs to the pharmacist, but it will also empower you to engage in confident conversations about health and wellness. Our focus on nouns today is especially helpful if you are trying to expand your basic vocabulary, because nouns are all around us. Everything we can see, touch, or talk about concretely usually involves a noun in some way. Remember, as language learners, it is always good to keep context in mind. When you hear a new word, try to imagine a scenario in which that word is used. Picture yourself in the environment. This helps your brain attach meaning to the word more effectively, so that later, when you need to recall it, you can do so more easily. The everyday scenario of a pharmacy is a perfect chance to practice this method, because it is a space many of us visit at some point, whether we are buying vitamins, picking up medication, or simply browsing health products. Now, let's start diving into our list of pharmacy-related nouns one by one. I will provide a definition, illustrate how the word is used in common expressions, and wrap up each explanation with some sample sentences. By the end of this list, I hope you feel equipped with a thorough understanding of these everyday nouns. Let us begin. Pharmacist is a noun that refers to the trained and licensed professional who prepares and dispenses medications. Pharmacists also provide advice on the proper use of prescription and over-the-counter drugs. They can answer questions about side effects, dosages, and drug interactions. Often, people will consult a pharmacist for everyday health issues before deciding if they need to see a doctor. In daily conversations, you might hear, "I asked the pharmacist if I could take this medicine with my other prescriptions." Or, pharmacists are great resources for quick medical questions. The pharmacist is usually found behind a counter in the pharmacy, wearing a white coat, ready to help customers understand their medications. Sample sentences are, "The pharmacist recommended a gentle cough syrup for my toddler." I always ask my pharmacist about possible side effects before starting a new medication. Medication is a noun that generally refers to any substance used to treat, cure, or prevent diseases and other health issues. The word medication can sometimes be used interchangeably with words like medicine or drug, though in everyday speech, medication often carries a more formal or clinical tone. For instance, if you visit a doctor and they prescribe something to help you feel better, you will likely refer to it as your medication. People often discuss their medication with healthcare professionals, especially when they need to adjust dosages or ask about side effects. When speaking about medication in daily conversations, you might say, "I need to take my medication 3 times a day." You might also say, "My friend forgot to bring her medication with her on vacation." In these kinds of contexts, medication highlights the idea of a substance that has a therapeutic or medicinal purpose. Sample sentences are, "I have been taking this medication for 1 week." Make sure you read the instructions on how to take your medication properly. Capsule is a noun that refers to a small cylindrical container, often made of a soluble material that encloses a dose of medicine. When someone talks about a capsule at a pharmacy, they usually mean a pill-shaped casing that is easy to swallow. Capsules can be filled with powders or liquids. You might hear your doctor say, you can either take this medication in tablet form or as a capsule, depending on which you prefer. The advantage of capsules is that they can sometimes make swallowing medicine easier, and they can mask the taste or smell of certain substances. In everyday speech, you might say, I usually prefer to take capsules because they are gentler on my stomach. Or perhaps, my grandmother finds it hard to swallow capsules, so she asks for a liquid form of the medication. When you use the word capsule, people know you are referring to the specific form of a medication, rather than something else like a tablet or a liquid. Sample sentences are, the pharmacist recommended taking the medication as a capsule to avoid any unpleasant taste. Capsules should be stored in a cool and dry place to keep them from sticking together. Cough mixture is a noun phrase that refers to a liquid medication taken to relieve or lessen coughing. Sometimes people call it cough syrup, especially in everyday conversation. The idea is that if you have a cold or a respiratory infection, you might take a cough mixture to soothe your throat or suppress a cough. Many cough mixtures have ingredients that help you sleep, while others are meant to be non-drowsy. In conversations, you might say, I feel a scratch in my throat, so I am going to take some cough mixture tonight. Or, when the kids started coughing, we made sure to have cough mixture on hand. This type of medication usually comes with a measuring device, such as a small cup or spoon, so you can take the correct amount. Sample sentences are, the doctor advised me to take 1 teaspoon of cough mixture before going to bed. My mother always keeps a bottle of cough mixture in the medicine cabinet during the winter. Blister pack is a noun phrase that refers to the type of packaging often used for tablets or capsules. It consists of a plastic casing with small pockets where each individual pill is sealed, usually with a foil backing. People like blister packs because they make it easy to see how many pills are left, and each one is protected from moisture and contamination. When you talk about a blister pack, you might say, the pills came in a handy blister pack, so I can take them one at a time. Another person might remark, I prefer medication in a blister pack because it helps me keep track of my doses. In an English conversation, using the phrase blister pack signals that you are referring to a specific type of packaging, rather than just a bottle or jar. Sample sentences are, can you help me open this blister pack? I do not want to accidentally rip the foil. Blister packs are convenient for travel because you only need to pop out each dose as you need it. Tablet is a noun that refers to a small, solid piece of medication in a flat, often round shape. Tablets are probably the form of medication most people are familiar with, as many common over-the-counter medicines come in tablet form. Unlike capsules, which have an outer shell, tablets are typically compressed powder that sometimes have a line across the middle to make them easier to split. In daily language, someone might say, take 1 tablet every morning with food. Or you might hear a doctor instruct, you should never crush this type of tablet because it has a special coating. The word tablet does not only refer to medication. In other contexts, a tablet can mean a small flat computer device, but in a pharmacy setting, tablet almost always indicates a pill form of medicine. Sample sentences are, the instructions say to dissolve the tablet in a glass of water for easier swallowing. If you find the tablet too large, ask your pharmacist if it can be cut in half. Dosage is a noun that indicates the amount of a medicine or drug that should be taken at a specific time or over a certain period. Understanding and following the correct dosage is essential to ensure that the medication is safe and effective. Healthcare professionals such as doctors and pharmacists will typically tell you your dosage instructions. In everyday conversation, you might say, the doctor prescribed a higher dosage of painkillers after I had surgery. You could also say, please check with a pharmacist if you are unsure of the correct dosage. The concept of dosage also applies to vitamins and supplements. Basically, anytime you are meant to take a specific amount of a substance at certain intervals, you are dealing with a dosage. Sample sentences are, the label says the recommended dosage is 2 tablets every 6 hours. If you accidentally take more than the prescribed dosage, you should contact your doctor. Measuring cup is a noun phrase that refers to a small cup designed to measure liquids, especially medications like cough mixtures or other syrups. These cups often have measurements marked on the side, such as milliliters or teaspoons, so you can accurately measure the amount of medicine. In day-to-day usage, you might say, the cough syrup came with a measuring cup, but I lost it. Or, I prefer to use a measuring cup to ensure I am taking the exact amount of medicine recommended. While measuring cups are common in the kitchen for cooking, a pharmacy measuring cup is typically quite small and tailored for medicinal doses rather than large cooking volumes. Sample sentences are, make sure to use the measuring cup to get the right dose. The pharmacist reminded me never to guess the amount of liquid medication, but to measure it properly. Suppository is a noun that refers to a small, solid medication that is inserted into the body, often through the rectum or vagina, where it dissolves and is absorbed. Suppositories are sometimes prescribed when someone cannot take medication orally or when a medication works more effectively in that form. They can be made of materials like cocoa butter or other substances that melt at body temperature. In everyday discussions, you might hear someone say, the doctor prescribed a suppository for my child when he could not swallow pills. While this type of medication might not be discussed in casual conversation as frequently as tablets, it is still important vocabulary to know in a pharmacy setting. Sample sentences are, the pharmacist explained exactly how to use the suppository. Some medications are more effective when given as a suppository instead of an oral pill. Ointment is a noun that refers to a smooth, thick substance applied to the skin for healing or protective purposes. Ointments can contain medicine for infections, burns, or rashes. They typically have an oil-based consistency, which helps the medication stay on the skin for a longer period. In an everyday context, you might say, I need to apply this antibiotic ointment to the cut on my arm. Or, my mother swears by a certain ointment for moisturizing dry skin. Ointments differ from creams or lotions in that they are usually thicker and may not absorb as quickly, but they often provide a protective barrier that helps the skin heal. Sample sentences are, the doctor recommended using this ointment twice a day. Make sure your hands are clean before you apply the ointment to avoid any germs. Injection is a noun that describes the act or process of administering a drug or other substance into the body using a needle and syringe. Sometimes people use the word shot to refer to an injection. If you go to a pharmacy, you might receive an injection for certain vaccinations, or you might pick up supplies if you need to administer injections at home. In casual speech, you might say, I went to the pharmacy to get my flu injection. Or, the doctor taught me how to give myself an injection of insulin. The word injection emphasizes the method of delivery, which is typically through a needle that pierces the skin. Sample sentences are, the pharmacist offered me a privacy room for my injection. If you are nervous about getting an injection, you can ask your healthcare provider for advice on how to relax. Drops is a noun that typically refers to small amounts of liquid medication that are applied in measured droplets. Commonly, you will hear about eye drops, ear drops, or nose drops. These often come in a small squeezed bottle or a container with a special dropper. In everyday speech, you might say, my allergies are acting up, so I use eye drops throughout the day. Another example is, the doctor prescribed ear drops to help with the infection. When referring to drops, people usually specify where those drops are used, like eye drops or nasal drops, to make it clear what kind of medication they are talking about. Sample sentences are, put 2 drops in each eye before you go to bed. Remember to keep the bottle of drops tightly sealed to prevent contamination. Spray is a noun that describes a medication or substance released in a mist form through a nozzle or pump. Examples include nasal sprays, throat sprays, or even topical sprays for skin conditions. Sprays can provide a quick way to deliver medication to a specific area. When discussing sprays in conversation, you might say, "I always keep a nasal spray in my bag when my allergies are bad." Or, "The doctor gave me a spray for my sore throat, which numbs it for a while." The word spray indicates the method of delivery and sometimes the packaging. Sample sentences are, "The pharmacist showed me how to use the nasal spray properly." Make sure you read the label to find out how many sprays are recommended each time. Vitamin pill is a noun phrase that refers to a pill containing vitamins that supplement a person's diet. Many people take a daily multivitamin pill, while others take specific vitamin pills such as vitamin C or vitamin D. You can find these in the pharmacy section, often labeled for different needs, like immune support or bone health. In casual conversations, people might say, "I take a vitamin pill every morning to boost my overall health." Or, "My doctor recommended an iron vitamin pill because my iron levels were low." Vitamins are not usually considered medication, but they are an important part of health and wellness for many people. Sample sentences are, "I never forget to take my vitamin pill with breakfast. Since I started taking a vitamin pill, I have more energy throughout the day." Effervescent tablet is a noun phrase referring to a tablet that dissolves in water, releasing bubbles or fizz as it dissolves. People often use effervescent tablets for pain relief medications or dietary supplements, such as vitamins. The fizzing effect helps the tablet dissolve quickly, making it easier and sometimes more pleasant to consume. In everyday language, you might say, "I like to use an effervescent tablet for my headache because it works faster." Someone else might mention, "This vitamin brand sells an effervescent tablet that tastes like citrus." The word effervescent specifically means giving off bubbles, so it clearly indicates that the tablet is meant to be dissolved in liquid before you ingest it. Sample sentences are, "Drop the effervescent tablet into a glass of water and wait until it stops fizzing before drinking." I find effervescent tablets to be a refreshing way to take my vitamins. We have now gone through a comprehensive list of nouns you might encounter in a pharmacy. Each of these words has its own context and usage, and understanding them will give you more confidence when you walk into a pharmacy, talk to a pharmacist, or read instructions on medication labels. Learning vocabulary in thematic groups, such as all the items you might find in a pharmacy, is an effective strategy because it allows you to see how words are related to each other in daily life. It also helps you store the words together in your mind, which can make them easier to recall. As you continue to grow your English vocabulary, remember to practice using new words in meaningful ways. You can do this by writing your own sentences, speaking aloud to yourself, or even teaching the words to someone else. If you have the chance to visit an English-speaking pharmacy, take note of the words you see on products or listen for how the pharmacist gives instructions. You might recognize some of the very same words we talked about today. Also, do not be afraid to make mistakes. Every time you ask a question, look up a word in a dictionary or practice with a friend, you improve your language skills. Learning a new language is a wonderful process that involves curiosity, patience, and consistent effort. You have already taken an important step by listening to this podcast and engaging with the vocabulary in a focused way. Before we wrap up, I want to encourage you to subscribe to Hello Word if you have not already. Subscribing makes sure you never miss an episode, and it also helps more people discover this show. If you're enjoying these lessons, I would be so grateful if you left a review. Your kind words and support help our podcast gain visibility, which means we can continue creating content that helps learners around the world improve their English. It is a simple action that makes a big difference in our community. Thank you for tuning into Hello Word with me, Alex. Your time is precious, and I am honored you spent it here learning new words and phrases. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I look forward to bringing you another dose of English learning in our next episode. Until then, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with anyone who might benefit from expanding their English vocabulary in a fun and friendly way. Have a wonderful day and see you next time on Hello Word.